You, I'm gonna ball at what cost? Fuck 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 you, I'm gonna ball at what cost? Hi, I'm Alexi Pukanikin, and we're ballin' today, tomorrow, and most definitely yesterday. At what cost? It's the GOAT against the machine. In the UFC 316 this weekend, it's the Suga Show versus the machine. And in F1, it's the GOATs versus the machine. The more you win, the more you gotta rage against the machine. All right, so let's recap a little bit. All right, we just got done with our triple header. Imola, Monaco, Spain. Lots of races during May, and now we're here in June, and we get to have a bit of a breather until we return in Montreal next weekend, not the upcoming weekend. So here we go. Oscar Piastri still leads the World Drivers' Championship. It got a little sketchy. It got a bit sketchy. Imola, Max Verstappen won. And in Monaco, Norris was on top of his game. But in Spain, which happened just a few days ago on Sunday, 1st of June, we were on top of our game once again. All right. Monaco showed us. Okay, no. Let's go with Imola. Imola showed us that Piastri is willing to be patient against Verstappen and arguably against Lando Norris. All right. He's way more calculated than people perceive him as. He's so much more calculated. People think he just shows up and does his thing and that's about that. No, this guy, very insanely calculated. And then in Monaco, Norris was just on top of his game. You know, his really, really, really attractive girlfriend or, situationship, whatever. She was there for the first time. It was kind of like, okay, now you gotta do your thing, dude. And I said this at the beginning of the season. Norris needs to get down with one girl, bro. That's it. And let's just say this girl definitely has the looks, probably the talent too, to lock Lando Norris down. We need to lock him down. Because then that's how we get such things as the Monaco Norris Masterclass. All right. And once again, Piastri going into Barcelona, Catalunya. Maybe the girlfriend was there. I don't know. I'm not sure. But the sister was there. See, this is all very... The sister is there. The hippie sister is there. So now I got to show out that your live free lifestyle is funded by my ass winning the hell out of these races right now, all right? No, that's just a joke. Oh, God. I talked a little fast. I will tell you this. I would totally much rather make love to Piastri's sister than Norris's girlfriend, but that's just my taste, all right? That's just revealing a little bit of the Pukanikin personality, all right? That's just... All right, while I take a sip of water because I just kind of embarrassed myself. But that's that. That's the story of Piastri through the triple header. I mean, he was already leading going into it. the whole big point was how does the consistency look like now that he's in the lead of the drivers championship? And the consistency looks great. He understands this is a long, hard season. There's plenty of upgrades to be had for other cars, possibly even the McLaren and Norris. He never knows where Norris is standing, and Oscar is thinking a little bit like, oh, okay, now this Norris guy wants to act like he's all, the boyfriend type. That is mind games for Piastri. I'm not gonna lie to you, all right? That is a little bit. He's thinking a little bit like, no, Lando. Like I know how you are, bro. Really, you tied down to one girl right now? Okay, all right, okay. Let's see if that gains you a couple tenths during Saturdays or what. But it's been tremendous either way. McLaren just skyrocketing their points tally when it comes to the team's standings. Pretty sure they scored a double podium in every single race weekend through May, which is kind of insane. Let me check over here. Yeah, if you count the Spanish GP, which is technically in June, but still every single one of the race weekends, double podiums for the McLaren boys. And the car is looking pretty consistent. It's looking pretty damn consistent. It's more just who is the challenger that can bring the heat towards McLaren right now. But as of right now, McLaren are looking very, very, very solid going into the summer, all right? Now, let's get into the hot topic. Everybody is talking about this. Everybody is, in my opinion, blowing this out of proportion. However, it's fun. However, the personality clash between George Russell and Max Verstappen is wonderful. This is something the FIA and F1 loves. Because instead of those two guys criticizing the FIA or the governing body or whatever the hell, they're going at each other. This is great. Now, this is very, very great for everyone. Plus, fans are entertained, right? This is perfect. But I'm just going to break it down a little bit, all right? Because there's some things that you kids might not want to hear, but I'll have to say it anyways. Red Bull in F1 wouldn't be Red Bull if it wasn't for Sebastian Vettel. And the same goes for Max Verstappen. All right? If there wasn't a Max Verstappen, we'd probably look at Red Bull right now like we look at Ferrari. All right, they're there, they're cool, they do something, but they don't do the big thing. But Max Verstappen changed that whole narrative after 2021, and he kept going for 4 seasons. Up until this point, right? And before we say anything, before we point the finger at Max Verstappen, up until the Spanish GP, Max Verstappen was pretty much still single-handedly keeping Red Bull at second place in the team standings. Single-handedly. He scored more than 95% of the points for Red Bull, right, when you add it all up. He's doing it all by himself. And I've said this once before, but then that is a factor that you have to consider. Because, yes, the guy has a temper on him, right? Absolutely, right? It's very obvious he has a temper, right? But there are so many factors that you can give the guy before he goes like, oh, well, fuck this. Which it really is what it is. It's just you pushed him to the limit, and ultimately people blame him. People go like, oh, it's your fault that you don't have a teammate that can help you because, Red Bull designed the car for you, specifically for your driving style. So no one can adapt to your driving style or whatever, and that's why everyone is struggling in the second seat of the Red Bull. So you're fighting for your life by yourself at the top field every single race weekend. And it's your fault that the other guy is doing bad. And it's somehow it's still up to you to get the race win. With not the fastest car, with alternative strategies, with everything, right? And I said this before Imola. But I'm pretty sure it was also just, dude, they were at the end of the triple header. Like, over time, you get exhausted. And then he's got it, he's got the new baby. I don't know if he went back home or however the logistics of it is. But eventually, he probably had a few nights where he couldn't sleep because the baby's up and crying and everything, dude. He's probably a little goddamn sleep deprived. And then the rule book is just a piece of useless garbage, right? It really is, right? It's not, foolproof at all. There's about 3,000 loopholes or whatever the hell that you can technically just argue against or argue for, and it's just all a big fucking mess. And we still haven't gone to George Russell yet. We're still sticking on Verstappen. George, unfortunately, was the one who poked the bear this time. Right? And this is where I'm getting... George poked the bear. The bear got angry. The bear, as in Max Verstappen. The bear got angry, and then Max Verstappen had to retaliate. I'm not explaining that. Like, that was clear, that he lashed out. He was like... in his helmet. And he had to do something, dude. He had to do something. Right? You push this guy to the absolute limit. I have a good amount of high school buddies that started watching F1 with me. And they've given up the past 2 seasons because Max Verstappen's always winning. So this guy, I've said this before, Verstappen only cares about winning, dude. He's only dedicated to winning F1 races. That's the thing he's fully dedicated to. And everything is trying to push him to become a dedicated father, a dedicated husband, and a dedicated regular guy. You're pushing him to the limit. And unfortunately, George poked him where I pushed him over the edge, and George wasn't even trying to push him over the edge. That's the real tragedy about this. Because George Russell wasn't even trying to do anything. Right? And the worst part was, you can almost argue that Verstappen, kind of just did it to himself in one way or another as well, because he's built up this reputation, and he knows that he can win, and he knows what he's capable of. So once the team doesn't match his capabilities, then it's just game over. Yuki Tsunoda. Right? Verstappen is so done, guys. He's so done. People, oh, possibly a move to Mercedes after the season. Dude, trust me, he would rather be. And also, you think Toto Wolff is gonna freaking sign Max Verstappen after everything? Come on, after him and George Russell, him and Lewis Hamilton those years. I mean, Christ almighty, you really think Toto Wolff is gonna offer this guy a super max contract? Get the fuck out of here. Max Verstappen, dude, give me two of these kind of race weekends for Max Verstappen. He's retiring. Bye-bye. And he deserves it. Again, he deserves it. Everybody's pushing him to the limit. And all he's done is try to win F1 races, try to win F1 championships. So, I feel super, super, super bad for George Russell for getting caught up in this shit because he had a rough one. He had a rough triple header, all right? Imola, the car was just god-awful, right? Somehow, it went downhill, which is rare for a Mercedes, really. And then Monaco, god-awful. Didn't even score a point, which is just when his kind of point-scoring streak ended. And then Max Verstappen, intentionally hits him, could have caused him a crazy amount of damage, could have DNF'd him. But thankfully, George Russell, it really, if karma's a real thing, just look at George Russell. I mean, it gets a little bit of bad karma, then the good karma comes back. It really balances it out for George Russell. However, it's just, it's crazy because they are like the polar opposite type of drivers too. But who knows? As of right now, all I just want to say is the machine is going against the GOAT. All right, or one of the GOATs, one of the modern GOATs. So, yeah, let's just savor this moment, all right? Because there ain't nobody like him. We really got to appreciate him, all right? Let's appreciate another young fella, bro. I'm talking Isaac Hadjar, rookie, becoming a points regular. Oh, yeah. That's what the hell is up. Scores a P9 in Imola, scores a P6 in Monaco, scores a P7 in Spain. At the top currently, points-wise, at the top of the bottom field drivers, Christian Horner, Helmut Marko. Don't even bother asking, because this Frenchman has pride. Don't even bother asking, brother. Don't get near him. Don't get near him. You sons of bitches. Stay away from him. And seriously, if they offer, Isaac Hadjar, I believe, will be smart enough to decline. He will have no choice but to decline. For the sake of his Formula One career, very rarely in the modern world does a professional have to decline a promotion because the promotion will only ruin his career. Isaac Hadjar, you're a Frenchman with pride. Say no to Christian Horner. Say no to Helmut Marko. And stay in Racing Bulls. Keep on doing your thing. The podium on a Racing Bulls is going to happen before scoring points in the Red Bull. So let's just keep on doing what you're doing. I like it. I love it. Becoming slowly and slowly, especially after this triple header, becoming the candidate for Rookie of the Year. All right, he's on the top of my list now. And going to the opposite side of the veterans, Nico Hülkenberg, scoring a top 5 finish in Spain in a Kick Sauber, arguably the slowest car in the whole freaking grid. And now, in the team standings, single-handedly keeping Aston Martin and Alpine at bay. Single-handedly. Nico Hülkenberg has scored 100% of the Kick Sauber points for this season so far. 16 points for Kick Sauber, 16 points for Aston Martin, and 11 points for Alpine. Haas Ferrari 10 points ahead of Kick Sauber. So let's see if Nico Hülkenberg can single-handedly try to overtake Haas. That would be interesting. I mean, Racing Bulls is also there. If Bortoleto, he looks like he's getting more and more consistent in the Kick Sauber. I don't know. We can see some things. This is great. Nico at least has the experience of being able to capitalize on safety car situations and all these spontaneous situations during a race. And a P5 overtaking Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. Oh my goodness gracious, that was cinema. That was cinema right there. And that's true balling at what cost right there, man. That is some true balling at what cost. Again, another veteran. Rookie. Fernando Alonso scoring points, even though technically the Spanish GP was on the 1st of June. I'll count it. We'll tick it off. We'll definitely count it. Alonso scores points at home, his first points of the season, and him scoring points at the Spanish GP means that he's the first driver to score points in 21 seasons. That is right. He is now statistically the most successful driver when it comes to longevity. So that's insane. I really like that. Hashtag Fernando Alonso is not cursed. Hashtag blessed, but only sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, only sometimes. Fernando Alonso, he's having a great time, all right? He gets a little frustrated because he's in the heat of the moment, right? But it all works out in the end. He's having a great time, scores points at home. Hashtag blessed, but only sometimes. All right, now let's go back to another rookie here. Rough triple header, rough month overall for Kimi Antonelli. His first home race in Imola was a DNF. Did not finish. Monaco, he ended up being 3 laps behind. And Spain, another DNF. And, I'm sure there's a lot of speculations, like, why has the performance dropped? Why hasn't? Because it seemed like, at least based on the raw speed that the guy has, we would have expected a little bit more during the triple header. However, I think I cracked the code. I think I know what's going on. You know how Kimi Antonelli invited his whole class his whole high school class to show up to Imola, into the paddock and everything like that to do a meet and greet or whatever. I think Kimi Antonelli had a crush in that class. And that crush did some like, you get a podium or you get a top 5, then we're gonna hook up. Right? Like the high school, like, yeah, you have a crush and oh man, but I'm with this guy, but if you do this, I'll get with you. And then Kimi Antonelli is just in his brain this whole time. And then he DNFs, has a rough Imola GP. I think the classroom crush just broke it to him. Broke it to Kimi and said, hey, I think we're just better off being friends. And I think Kimi Antonelli got friend zoned by his crush. And he's been fucked up since, dude. He's been fucked up since, dude. Some girl from that class is playing some mind games with him, and it's throwing him off, dude. He can't concentrate. He's probably not sleeping well, right? Getting fucking friend zoned by your classmate. That's just classmate crush, dude. I think that's what's going on, dude, because it was the mistakes he's made, at least the Monaco quali was just, come on, Kimi, come on. Come on, man. It's okay, man. It's okay. You're friends. It's fine. Just stay in contact. It's fine, dude. You got this, man. Let's get over that friend zone, bro. You deserve better, bro. You're way more talented than to have some girl fuck with your head, You're a savage, dude. Come on. I love you, Kimi Antonelli. I had you for a podium for one of these triple headers. I will still have this up for the rest of the season. It's definitely one of the shouts that I think will happen. But let's get back into it now. All right, let's get over that crush. All right, fuck that. She friend zoned you. What a piece of shit. Really. Let's just lock it in. All right, Kimi Antonelli, much love to you, bro. You got this. All right. Ferrari is back. Scuderia Ferrari is back. They're P2 in standings. In the team standings, they're second place right now, behind McLaren. I mean, I told Charles after the Imola GP, I told him, hey, brother, you hit the Macas after the race. Do more of that. Do a little bit of more of that. Indulge a bit more. Enjoy. Savor. Just fully, right? The fries and the McFlurry. That's how you should be living life. I told Charles Leclerc that. I did. And I think Charles listened. After that, he got 2 podiums. Got a podium, P2 in Monaco, and then got himself a little P3 in Spain. So I think Charles, you're great. I love it. You're listening to what I have to say. That's wonderful. All right? I won't tax you. All right? Here's the problem. All right? And if we can get over this problem, we're a Ferrari, we're going to win the Constructors Championships. All right? We're going to win it all, if anything. All right? But here's the problem. Ferrari still don't give a fuck about Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, arguably the ultimate GOAT of Formula One. He's in a team where that team doesn't give a fuck about him. And this is statistically, factually true. Here's the thing. You can argue that, yes, okay, whatever, fuck it, right? Ferrari signed him just for the marketing purposes. Right? But it's still bad. Like, you don't even give a fuck about marketing-wise how this looks for you. Right? You think Zhou Guanyu is signed for marketing purposes? Lewis Hamilton was definitely signed for marketing purposes from Ferrari's perspective. Lewis Hamilton signed going like, okay, I might get a good car, I might but this and that, I mean, maybe get my 8th championship. That'd be nice in the Ferrari. That would be very, very nice. So let me tell you why they don't give a fuck about Lewis Hamilton. First, they don't have the fastest car. You have arguably the most talented driver lineup with loads of experience. A fucking powerful 1-2 punch. And you don't have the fastest car. You didn't deliver the boys in red the fastest car. Second, they're not trying their best to have the fastest car. No. Maybe before the race weekend, they're trying their best back at the factory, whatever. But once we get to the race weekend, once we're there set up on the paddocks, they're just kind of like, all right, this is what we got. And third, and this is when it's going to get so real that it's just like, you're going to have to hear me out, right? Let's go back a little bit. Mercedes, back when Lewis Hamilton was with Mercedes-Benz, right? Mercedes-AMG, Petronas, whatever the fuck, right? Mercedes always gave Lewis a fair share of freedom when it came to pre-paddock appearances. As in when he's arriving, when he arrives to the paddock on a racing day or on a, during the race week, when he shows up, he can show up with very different stuff, right? For example, Lewis Hamilton showed up a lot when it came to his Tommy Hilfiger collaboration that he did, right? That was a thing because Tommy Hilfiger was a sponsor of the team kits and everything, but they struck up a deal and Lewis Hamilton did a collab with them, which means that Lewis Hamilton had a lot of input in his fashion choice when it came to a team sponsor, but also when it came to him arriving to the paddock, Mercedes gave Lewis Hamilton a lot of freedom when it came to what he can wear when he arrives. When by the time he arrives and he has to do all the obligations, he's wearing the team kit, right? As required with everyone. But it's when he appears to the paddock, he had a lot of choice. With Mercedes, at least, because Mercedes understood that this guy is going to be better for marketing Mercedes cars when he just dresses up the way he dresses up in his high fashion, designer, artistical expressionism through fashion. The guy goes to Met Galas, right? He's a big deal at Met Galas. He has so much influence when you let him do what he wants to do. Now, Lewis Hamilton is with Ferrari, and they are forcing him to wear the team kit when he arrives to the paddock. The 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, the first and only black F1 driver, the winningest F1 driver, the most fashionably influential driver, you're forcing him to wear the team kit when he arrives to the paddock. And because you are forcing him and you're not giving him leniency with fashion, you're not even giving him leniency when it comes to race cars. With the F1 car, with the strategy, you're not giving him any lenience on that. But now you're also holding him captive when it comes to his fashion choices arriving to the paddock. And in silent protest, Lewis Hamilton, for a couple days, had a security guard where he would put out a umbrella. I think the first day was like an umbrella that covered Lewis Hamilton's face. And then the other day, Lewis Hamilton tried to go around back, or like tried to go one way without the cameras, right? And this is all a source from Kim Illman, the F1 YouTuber / photographer. For the source, thank you. This is what's going on. You don't give Lewis Hamilton the fastest car. You're not trying to make it a faster car during the race weekend. And then you're not even giving him the choice to pull up in whatever he wants to the paddock. The GOAT against the machine. This is where Ferrari is fucking up big time. This is insane. No. Like, this is actually insane. Like, guys, this is actually fucking insane. This is absolutely absurd. Really. No. This is absolutely absurd. Right? The clear problem is Ferrari thought it would be less work. That's as simple as that. Ferrari thought it would be simply less work if we got this guy. He's just a marketing freaking whatever. And that's the worst part, right? If you argue that Ferrari signed him for marketing purposes, you're not even doing that right, dude. You're not even doing that. You're not even letting him wear what he wants when he arrives to the paddock, dude. And then on top of that, you don't look like you're working harder. You're not looking like you're working harder because you need to work even harder when there's Lewis Hamilton around. When there's a 7-time world champ, it requires more work, not less work. It's not just, okay, we dropped a massive bag on this boy. Now he does whatever we tell him to. No, dude. That's the GOAT. All right? So you guys need to get on his level. You guys need to treat him like he's more important than Michael Schumacher. Until then, forget about it. Let's just start with let Lewis Hamilton wear what he wants to wear. Arriving to the paddock. Right? I don't know how many times I gotta say this. It's not like once he's there, he changes into the freaking team kit, right? Which is required. But when he arrives, when he just walks for a few freaking minutes, dog, How about just give him the freedom to look better? That too is just like, what? You don't want him to look better? Like it has to be the sponsors for the money grab? Like, I'm not even talking about the car or the strategy or nothing, which is a fucking pile of shizzle. So let's just lock it in. Because I think the second Ferrari locks in with Lewis Hamilton, they could bring the fight to McLaren for the second half of the season. That is what everybody wants, ultimately, right? Everybody wants Lewis Hamilton to win. Sure, Charles Leclerc, if he wins, that's great. But everybody wants Lewis Hamilton to win in the Ferrari, all right? And if he can't win in the Ferrari car, let him win with his fits. Jesus Christ. Again, you make me want to sound like the Italians are super racist towards the black man right now. But you leave me no choice, dog. It's the GOAT versus the Italian mean machine. But that's my little rant there because this is all fact. Like, that's all fact. I'm not even kidding. I went super long. This episode is going to be super long just because I went on a 10-minute rant about that shit. But that's real. Like, that's some real shit right now, which is absolutely absurd. That shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening. And I want Ferrari to win. Start season opener. I said Ferrari Constructors Championship, Ferrari Drivers Championship. Let's fucking do this shit. But right now, we're treating Lewis Hamilton just like another black man. Jesus. All right, let's move on. Let's move on into the positive. Although it broke my heart a little bit, just a little bit. We're good. We're all good. Williams boys, my boys in blue, my men in blue. I get it, man. We need to give the boys some rest. They worked hard. They fought hard. We had a good streak going. I think it was 5 or 4 race weekends in a row with double points. Lasted up until Monaco, and then unfortunately Spain just didn't go the way we wanted it to go, and the horrendous luck just struck. But the boys deserve some rest, really. Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, thank you for working hard, pushing hard. The luck, the good luck, will slowly start giving us a boost soon. Don't worry about it. It's simply a matter of time before one of the Williams cars is up on the podium. So no worries. Thank you for a tremendous effort. We will keep it going after we take a little bit of a break, all right? Little bit of a break after the triple header. And we will be in Montreal, Canada next weekend. All right, next week I'll be reporting back and talking more about what's about to go down. But what is about to go down this weekend is UFC 316 in Newark, New Jersey. In F1, it was the GOAT versus the Machine. In the UFC, it's the Sugar Show versus the Machine. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili for the 135 bantamweight belt. That's the main event. But before we get into that, real quick, some prelims that I like to shoot out here. Ariane Da Silva, ranked number 13 in the women's flyweight division, goes against Wang Tong. My main girl, Wang, needs an impressive showing to get herself ranked. I will have to say that. If this is if it's one of those decisions where it's not like a masterclass decision, I don't know if Wang Tong is gonna go all the way up there, like past 10 in the flyweight division, women's flyweight division. However, if she does, I think she will be well into the rankings. Ariane da Silva, however, Brazilian lady, of course, is the same size and has grappling as a tool always, right? So hopefully my girl Wang Tong can keep her distance and keep her composure, because she took that one beating from the Brazilian chick who knew BJJ. So it's just like, obviously she does have a kryptonite. Let's see if it's an actual kryptonite or if it was a slip up. If my Chinese sister can bounce back, dominate the Brazilian with the jiu-jitsu skills, then that one time was only a slip up and we're on the road to greatness. All right, so that's what we have in the prelims. And also, just real quick, my boy Johnny Walker goes against Azamat Murzakanov. Johnny Walker ranked number 11 in the light heavyweight division. Azamat Murzakanov is ranked number 12 in the men's light heavyweight division. Johnny Walker road to championship, restarting after dealing with this 14-0 Russian real quick. I believe it. I didn't know there was a Azamat Murzakanov who is 14-0 in the light heavyweight division. Russian, of course, and scary as fuck, of course. Wishing Johnny Walker all the best. And if we get that guy, then let's, dude, Botan doesn't know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? So shout out Johnny Walker. Let's give us some fucking primetime entertainment on Saturday, all right? Main card. Let's go into the main card real quick. I'm going to shoot these out real quick because this has been a long ep. Vicente Luque, ranked number 14 in the men's welterweight division, goes against Kevin Holland, Trailblazer. Kevin needs to give us another dub. He's the most active fighter in the UFC, pretty much. Third fight in 2025, and we're not even halfway through the freaking year. This is his third fight already. Kevin, if you want to stay active, I know there's an automatic check, but if you chasing that bag, you also got to be chasing the dub, dude, because the dub gives you a bigger bag. So let's just go for it. Let's keep on getting the dubs, and let's see how this activeness will pay off for you. All right, Trailblazer. Then next we go to the men's bantamweight division. Mario Bautista, who is ranked number 10 in the division, is going against Patchy Mix. Now, everyone will be praying that the former Bellator champion, which is Patchy Mix, can take out Mario Bautista, since he arguably made Jose Aldo retire prematurely. Mario Bautista, being Jose Aldo's second last fight in the UFC, just scoring points and just doing the bare minimum as us fans would kind of perceive the fight to win against the legend Jose Aldo. Now, Patchy Mix coming over from Bellator. Patchy Mix is 31. Former champ, incredibly talented. I think only two losses and over 20 dubs. Professionally, I think Patchy Mix could be a very exciting addition to the men's already exciting bantamweight division. However, Mario Bautista has to show that he has entertainment value as well. This is one of those where it's just like, do we have entertaining fighters or not? Or do we just have some dudes that are pretty good at winning, but can they actually produce something exciting for us? All right. That's going to be the goal for this matchup. Can we make it not boring? All right. And so with that being said, I think Patchy Mix, being the more entertaining fighter and being a former champ in Bellator, let's give the fans what they want. We want Mario Bautista to have a rough day at the office, all right? But I don't want to be, a guy who's preying on someone's, bad, performances. So I'm not going to go into that. Let's go into the next one. Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. This is a men's middleweight matchup. I mean, if Kelvin can make weight, that's already a win for everybody, realistically. And also, there's a reason why this matchup was made. It's because Kelvin Gastelum has Mexican heritage, born and raised in, I think, LA or California. And that's why, he's Mexican heritage going against the New Jersey hometown hero, Joe Pyfer. And Joe Pyfer recently becoming a full-blown Mexico hater, just freaking, like straight up bean Semitism or anti-bee or like anti-taco or whatever the hell, which is really just really not good. But, Joe Pyfer will one way or another have the hometown, home crowd support. But Kelvin Gastelum also loads of fans and probably having the Latino community behind his back supporting him. So let's just see who wins. At the end of the day, they're both Americans, but this is one of those where it's just like, it's this, there's a little bit of racial or transnational type of tension in this fight and matchup, which I will appreciate a lot. Before the co-main event, we have Juliana Pena, who is the women's bantamweight champion of the world, going against Kayla Harrison, ranked number 2 in the women's bantamweight division. This is for the women's bantamweight championship of the world. The whole women's UFC future relies on Kayla Harrison becoming the champion. She might be 34 years old. She might only have 2 fights in the UFC, but she has climbed the ranks. A tough ladder to climb and an even tougher champion to take the belt away from. Seriously, Kyla, please. Kyla, please. Please. Do it for us. All right. Do it for the few that still hasn't lost full hope on the women's UFC, okay? Please, Kayla Harrison, please. Okay. Yeah, dude, it's just insane. I have no idea how this fight is gonna pan out. I'm gonna be rooting for Kayla Harrison. Who knows? Let's just get this done. Let's get a masterclass out of Kayla Harrison. Much love to the ladies. That's that. Main event. Time for the main event. Merab Dvalishvili, aka The Machine, World Bantamweight Champion, UFC World Bantamweight Champion, versus Sean O'Malley, aka The Sugar Show, ranked number 1 in the men's bantamweight division. This is the rematch for the bantamweight belt. Look, Merab's got a chin on him. Merab's got the cardio. Right? Realistically, we saw how that first fight panned out. And I do think it was a Merab masterclass, all right? Sean O'Malley looked a little bit, didn't look like himself. All right, and that is why Sean O'Malley went full spiritual guru mode, right? Like, he just, stopped. He stopped social media. He was always like, he kind of got his big fan base and big like name from just being active on social media. Got off of social media, right? I'm talking stopped his gaming streams, stopped just posting skits on Instagram, stopped everything, right? Stopped smoking weed, stopped jerking off. Like, this is literally like he stopped jerking off. Like, that's just like a fact, right? He's like freaking building a house in Arizona. He went full like spiritual guru mode, like reinvent myself, and he sold me, because that's exactly what you got to do after you lost your belt. Like, that's the only option. This is what I would want every champion, every former champ to do after they lost their belt. Just go fucking full like lock-in mode. That's what Sean O'Malley did. He just fully freaking locked in, right? Sean O'Malley knows his career is going to look very, very different if he can't get this belt back right away. All right? That's all he knows. He's not thinking about, okay, if I do this, then what's next for me? He's not. He knows that his whole, like, the big picture of his fighting career is simply going to look different if he's not able to get it back right away from someone like Merab, right? Who is just one of those workhorses, just always on you. Merab doesn't fucking put you out, right? But he just master classes you. And Sean O'Malley knows that he should be the one putting on a masterclass like he did against Chito Vera, right? Merab is confident in his style and his work ethic. What the fuck? Merab is confident. He knows he's done enough to stay champ. So now Sean O'Malley had to do the spiritual guru in order to switch up, in order to get the belt back, right? He knows he has to change. Merab knows that he just has to do what he has to do. But Sean O'Malley knows that he has to do something completely different. And to be fair with you, I think the only way Sean O'Malley wins is by KO or TKO. I don't think Sean O'Malley can win this by decision. It would be very, very tough for him, right? With that being said, it has to be a TKO or a KO. I really doubt that he can put Merab out cold. That would be insane. Out cold or not, or TKO, I think it's got to be the flying knee. Like, I say this all the time for every single fighter, but it's the flying knee, dude. That's it. That's it. I don't think Sean O'Malley can use his arms in order to generate enough power to get Merab rocked. It has to be a kick. It has to be the leg. And I think it has to be the flying knee, dude. So I'm calling Sean O'Malley, Suga Show, retains the belt. Flying knee, third round. Bam. That's the Suga Show. The Suga against the machine. The GOATs against the machine. That is it for today. Sorry I went a little bit long, but I had a lot to get off my chest. Next week will be full on back into the F1. Stand-up's been great. Shout out to all the people that were there to see my show last week. It was one of the best shows I've ever had. It was wonderful. I actually was, kind of happy with my existence afterwards. And we still have a show Saturday. We have possibly something more exciting on Sunday too, but let's just not get into it. It's chill. It's chill. I'm not nervous for the thing on Sunday. Only nervous for the thing on Saturday. I'm fucking lying. I'm terrified of both. And I just want to do good in both. But you got to ball. That's what I gotta tell them. You got to stay balling. All right, that's the only message that I really got. Is that I ball. But it comes at a cost. And if you can accept that, then we're great. Then there's a future with this interaction and this relationship that we might have. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back next week. Thank you for tuning in this week. Stay ballin'. Enjoy the summer. Get a tan. Drink some water. I'll see you guys next week.